Hi there, and welcome to the Retail Drop podcast brought to you by Go Instore and Charge Retail. In each episode, we'll be talking to industry experts who share their insights on everything ranging customer experience, omnichannel retail, and digital trends in our ever-changing retail landscape.
Good morning, I'm Aman Krana, co-founder of Go Instore, and today I'm lucky enough to have Hugo Tapia, Head of Consumer Strategy and Planning at Hackett. Hugo, welcome.
Hello.
Hugo, I wanted to start the conversation by talking about omnichannel. Now, omnichannel is a word that's used very regularly, and I've heard it for the last 4 or 5 years in increasing amounts year on year. What's your definition of omnichannel?
Well, I would define omnichannel, or I would define a brand as truly omnichannel when it is possible for a customer to jump from channel to channel without any damage in the consumer experience, which is very, very difficult nowadays. I would say that there are very, very few brands that are truly omnichannel, and a lot of brands trying to be omnichannel.
Yeah, I would agree completely. I think I've seen a lot of business titles that include the word omnichannel, which is good, which shows that it's trying to make an impact. But actually, when speaking to these brands or trying to work with them, I found that the strategy is not a complete strategy. And although there's buy-in at different levels of the business, there doesn't seem to be synergy across the whole business to kind of deliver this type of strategy.
Yeah, definitely. So there are a lot of brands that are multi-channel.
Yes.
But not many that are omnichannel. I always like the word channelless. So basically the brands need to think as if there were no channels, not just a lot of channels. So omnichannel represents an idea of all channels. Yeah. I like to define that as channelless. So there's just customers and touch points and the brand in between.
I like that. I like that a lot. I heard a presentation recently and the guy talking said he's banned the word omnichannel in his business and now he's decided to call it one retail because it's just about the customer. Exactly. And exactly as you say, it should be channelless. It's just, can we deliver the same experience to the customer across whatever channel they're coming into in us?
Yeah.
And I think the customer doesn't see our business as channels. They just see us as a business and a brand, but yet we define it as different channels within that business. So looking into that, so many brands are trying to address this, let's say, omnichannel problem. What do you think are the biggest barriers for brands in achieving a true omnichannel strategy?
Well, I would say there are two different types of barriers. One is pure technological. So most of brands have developed historically as Frankensteins, meaning adding different business units to their cores. So they add on the website, they add on the wholesale channel, they add on the retail channel, whereas none of them have thought on how would it work integrated, which is for them now their key challenge. In addition to that, and as a consequence of their own development, the brands are not, organizationally speaking, prepared for this. So the brands are organized within different channels. Channels are almost competing between them. Staff incentives are not prepared to be completely omnichannel. So there's a lot of, there's not only the technological side of things, but also the organizational side of things, which sometimes is harder to resolve.
Yeah, I completely agree as well. In my experience, some of the businesses that we speak to, if you speak to the people on the ground level, the store staff, they see the website of that same brand as a competitor to them. And they're not incentivized to try and help drive website sales. And you can understand because people are coming into the showroom or to the store, using their knowledge and expertise, walking out and then making the purchase online, and they don't get no recognition for it. So you can see this disparity.
Yeah, so it's that you said is very important to have the stuff into consideration when any brand plan a omnichannel strategy. The first thing they need to crack on is the staff incentive. So any technology, any tool that the brands can put in store in order to cross channels need to be addressed and need to be welcomed by the staff. If the staff don't use the technology, then the brand will never become omnichannel. That's why the first thing to address is the staff.
Yeah, completely agreed. And do you see the role of staff members changing compared to kind of what it was in the last 5-10 years, just as a salesperson?
Massively. So right now, staff empowerment is the key for any brand to become omnichannel, and everything comes back to the experience that the brand wants to deliver to the customers. So empowering the store staff, or by empowering the store staff, they become almost an advisor on the brand rather than just a pure transactional activity, let's say.
Yeah.
For us, the store staff is essential. We deliver our experience through the store staff, and we definitely believe in the human touch for that.
Yeah, I'm strongly of the belief that as a purchase becomes more considered, so let's say there's an emotional attachment involved, or it's a higher value item, or it's a gift, somewhere where there's more consultation required, the most important element in that sales process is the human touch.
Of course.
And yet we're moving away from the human touch as we increasingly go online. And I think we need to strike a balance. We have to have the convenience of online shopping. We appreciate that people are going online, but how do we try and deliver that online experience with the human touch, as close to the in-store experience as possible? Do you see brands trying to kind of adopt that strategy and try and bring that in-store experience online?
Well, first, I think that the brand experience needs to be delivered in a blend of touch points. So It's not only let's move everything to online, because it doesn't make sense at all. Maybe for some brands it does, but for a brand like ours, for example, it doesn't make sense at all. Personalization of experience online is something that is of course on our agenda, and to make the customer feel recognized and valued online is of course in our agenda, and I think we are doing big steps towards that end. Although we believe that, of course, the master experience can be delivered just in store within the human touch. So for us, the key is how to empower the staff with the necessary tools in order for them to deliver the desired experience or the expected experience.
And how that, I completely agree once again, but that sounds hard. I mean, is incentivization just based around kind of financial targets and commission, or is there other things to consider when talking about how we get the staff empowered to deliver this experience?
Well, the first thing that we need to give to the staff, of course, are the tools, the necessary tools. If we want them to deliver something, they need to have the necessary tools or the appropriate tools to deliver that. So by rolling out different platforms in the store, which allows the staff to check all the customer profiles, how the customers interact with the brand, that helps them to guide their customer journey. Of course, financial incentives are a driver of success, of course, but there's also a blend of all the things that a brand can offer to them.
Yeah. I think more and more now we're seeing that financial incentives are important, but as you said, if their staff members haven't got the tools to deliver to the best of their ability, and that's the other thing that technology has really brought us. It's allowed us to compile, let's call it good data, valuable data, and I think with data, everything that's been talked about with privacy and consumer privacy and so on. My belief is that if a customer feels like their data is being used to improve their experience and make their life easier, and it's being used in a relevant way to them, then they're very happy to share that data.
Of course.
I get the feeling that if it's a position where actually, someone's given you a bit of data and, they have signed up to your mailing list, and it's a male in his 20s, and you're now sending him emails for clothing for a woman in her 30s, that's where it starts to get annoying. And you think, why is this the case if everything's meant to be so intelligent? And in that, do you see, in this omnichannel approach, with a blend of human and technology, where do you see kind of do you see a two-way data exchange in this? How do you see data playing a part within this new omnichannel world?
Well, in the old days, when the brands were completely divided within different channels, the problem was that the channels didn't talk to each other.
Yeah.
Whereas now, there's of course a blend of tools, and there's quite a wide option of tools to put in the middle of all of those channels, which are kind of taking data from all the channels, which kind of which helps us within the brands to have a truly 360 consumer view, and of course that helps to deliver the experience back in store. So there's a tool that collects all the data, and then that tool delivers the data to the store associates in order for them to be empowered, so that the store associates would know whether that customer bought in another store or online, or where that customer comes from. So all of that data helps the store associate to make the customer feel valued, and make the customer feel that the brand takes care of them, which is very important.
Yeah. Now, over the past 5 years, we can't get away from headlines in the UK stating that the high street is dying, retail is dead, it's all over. And then unfortunately, you see a number of major high street retailers that have shut down or had significant impact in the stores closing. But at the same time, we see pure play retailers that were traditionally pure play that are now starting to open up stores on the high street and actually expand their footfall in terms of high street presence. What do you believe is the role of the store now and in the future within the whole retail process?
Yeah. So, well, if you ask me, is high street dead? Absolutely not. I think high street will still be at the core of our business for many years. It is true that online has been growing rapidly, but still, I think it doesn't represent more than 20% of the total sales in the UK. I think the key is the blend of channels. So we see a lot of retailers closing down stores, but that may have been due to overexpansion, for example. So all the brands, they need to find a balance between the high street and the digital channels. But of course, the online channel will not be a substitute of the high street.
Yeah, I tend to believe that the stores or the businesses that have been mainly affected by closing down the high street are those that haven't embraced a change in the role of the store within the sales process.
Yeah.
So for years and years we were going, and mainly the store was a transactional element of the retail process. Whereas now it's clear that it needs to be an experiential element. You need
Definitely.
to be kind of immersed. A term, I was listening to a presentation 4 years ago from the CEO of Harrods, and what he said was they create retail theatre. And I like that expression. And he said, that's their role. So within Hackett, do you spend a lot of time and energy trying to create that retail theatre experience?
Yes. We take that very seriously, and we believe in stores as almost engagement hubs. Right. For the customers to feel, to touch the product, but also to have to feel the experience. So for us, it's not only about the product; it's also around all the experience that the brand has. So for us, we're very, very lucky to still have Jeremy Hackett around, and we rely on him to really dictate how the brand experience should be delivered. And we're also lucky that we have quite a strong point of view on the experience. So we have all the barbers in store, we have the bars in store, so that the customers, in addition to transact, they can really feel and get what the brand is about.
And what role does social play for Hackett in delivering and raising awareness of the brand and the experience that you're delivering?
Well, that's social media has opened like a new dimension for customers to engage with brands. For us is our main exposure channel at the moment, and it's massively growing. It's just helpful. So is like having a loudspeaker to shout to the world what you're about. And when you're lucky enough to have such a strong brand equity or such a strong point of view, that's just an amplifier.
Yeah.
So for us, it is a real amplifier.
And do you see social as giving the opportunity for the brand, if you like, in some ways, to be less censored and a bit more authentic? Because I get the feeling when I visit a lot of websites that you get the brand message, but sometimes it's a bit censored, it's a bit corporate, if you like. But then when you go onto the social channels, you get a true reflection of something that's a bit more real, that hasn't had the brand or marketing director say, no, we can't say that.
Yeah, social for us is spontaneous and is immediate.
Yes.
So, which is what brands need to be nowadays: immediate, reactive, spontaneous. That's of course the other side of the coin, as you said. Opposed to having a website very curated, I think social media gives us the opportunity to drift a bit on, but nicely drift from the path. I think it's very interesting and adds just another point of view, and a point of view of authenticity, which is something that is highly valued by the customers.
Yeah, I agree, and I think customers now, they are becoming more and more educated about brands, and I think when they're engaging in a brand, it's not just now the look and feel, for example, in Hackett, of the clothing or the items that they're purchasing. It's actually brand beliefs and core beliefs. And do you feel more that the brand is aligning itself more with social responsibility and what comes with, an increasing presence on kind of saving the planet, being green, and being more considerate about the world and the environment around us? Do you feel more that more businesses, not necessarily just Hackett, but in the world that we're currently in within retail, are focusing more on these types of factors that we think are more prominent now in today's well-connected world?
Yeah, definitely. So, well, for us, we're always trying to make things much more efficient and less damaging for the planet, of course. And we use better materials and we take care of that seriously. But I think that's a general trend not only within this industry, within all the industries. So we will see we've seen a massive shift on the way, for example, people move in the cities, electric cars, bikes, and I think there's more to come in the near future.
What do you see is in the next 5 years as any major improvements or challenges that are going to come to retail that we need to start preparing for and thinking about now as kind of experts in the industry?
Well, I think that in the next 5 years we will see a lot of brands trying harder to get the blend of channels that they need. I see a lot of brands saying we're omnichannel, we're becoming omnichannels, but they are actually, as I said at the beginning, multi-channel. That needs to be addressed quite quickly, because the way today's world works is all about speed and adaptation to new situations. So on the one side, you will have all the pioneers in technology, which are constantly disrupting the industry, and hence the customers' expectations change. So that for the brands is quite challenging, because the brands need to catch up, literally. So I think in the next 5 years we're going to see a massive effort from other brands.
Yeah, at World Retail Congress this year, Lord Stuart Rose, the chairman of Ocado, one of his lines was that the consumer is no longer king; they're master of the universe.
Of course.
which I found to be very, very quick. I think the consumer is constantly educating, but they're constantly having more and more power in a way because they're so well connected and they are dictating the terms. And I think unless brands and retailers respond quickly and effectively in that, then they're going to quickly die. In that regard, the role of the retailer, I think, is actually changing as well, because I think with the rise of online, it's given brands for the first time a direct channel to consumers, and that channel is increasing. So retailers, I understand that retailers are still a significant part and a majority part of a brand's distribution for most retailers, but I think as the years go by, that would shift. So where do you see kind of the differentiation between the brand and the retailer, and what type of synergies are still there for them to work closely with one another?
Well, I think the main thing is the customer. So the customer doesn't see retailer, wholesaler, brand. They just see brand, whatever it is. So it's in benefit of everyone to really work together with the wholesalers. So for us, for example, that we take that very very seriously, and we work closely together with all of our partners. So it's a mutual benefit.
Yeah, I think you're right. It comes back to the same point where the consumer is king.
The consumer is the same.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what channel or where, they do not see that difference. But what they do want is a consistent experience delivered.
Exactly. They don't see the difference, and they shouldn't see the difference.
Yeah.
They just see the brand.
So in that, can you think of a personal experience that you've had, whether it be with Hackett or even with another brand or retailer, where you thought, that's exceptional kind of customer service, something that really delighted you and made you take note and think that was really good and powerful?
Well, I've done when I started at Hackett, I've done some sort of mystery shop in our stores, and in some of them I was amazed how the store staff knows the product, knows the material, the fits, how they advise to the customer. So that's an incredible in-store experience. I've seen customers going out of our stores so happy that I was literally amazed. The question is, how can we escalate that to all the stores to make it consistent? Talking of another brands, I think I will always remember the first time I came to London to a Nike store, and they started to analyze the way I run, and therefore they recorded me, they analyzed it, and then they advised on which trainers should I get. That's of course many years ago, but I think that for me was like, this is new.
Yeah.
And it was the beginning.
Yeah, and picking up on that, and that's a very valid point. When you know that as a brand you're capable of delivering a fantastic brand experience, and you see that, you experience it, but your brand is global, and you know that you've got hundreds or thousands of employees, and you've seen some deliver an outstanding experience, but you know that not everyone is delivering to that level. How do you get that consistency? How do you get it so that you can, exactly as you said, you can give all of your customers that feeling that you experience in that particular setting?
Yeah, that's why we think that store staff is key.
Yeah.
And well, that's how a brand can rely on technology and can leverage on technology. So you can really design what is the desired in-store experience that you want to deliver, and then leverage on technology to make it scalable to everyone in every store, and really design not training programs, we call it experience programs, so that we have the model of or the master experience that we want to have, and then we just roll it out to all of the stores. That said, I feel that store associates should not be like robots. So there is also a degree of authenticity that they need to have, and spontaneity that they need to have as well. But there's some sort of guidelines that needs to be addressed to make sure that at least the core experience is consistent.
Yeah. I think that if you take away the personality of the individual, it lacks authenticity in the experience.
Absolutely.
And you're kind of ripping the heart
Absolutely.
out of that person's delivery.
Absolutely.
And what I like is the fact that terminology is changing. So just now You said training, and then you said no. Actually, it is. Sorry, the word you used, I think, was
Experience.
Experience, and that's right. I think it's exactly that. If we make those small changes, it leads to bigger changes as well. You don't call people in the store sales staff. You call them your store associates. You know, there's terms used now like brand ambassador, product experts. And although they're just slight changes in the words that we use, I think they're important changes because it's actually recognition that it's not that role. That we're not talking about you're just important for sales. Actually, you're here to deliver, be an ambassador for our brand, create a brand experience for our customers, delight them, and then the sales should come off the back of that.
Yeah.
You know, we understand the end goal for all organizations, which is fair, is to be profitable, but let's deliver the most authentic and enjoyable experience possible, and that should get us to that point.
Yeah, and it's not about the sale. For me, it's about the relationship, which that should lead to different sales. So it's not about the sale.
Yes.
It's how to really curate that relationship with the customer so that we maximize what we call the customer lifetime value.
Yes.
We don't measure we don't measure our customers in a single transaction now. We measure our customers in the customer lifetime value.
And in that, I guess that once again heads into the omnichannel strategy, taking us back to omnichannel, which is then really, it's so important to connect those dots of how the customer's engaging with you.
Of course.
And because, you know, if a customer's going to engage with you once or twice, it's okay if the experience isn't consistent. But if you're expecting that customer, you've got a customer lifetime value and they're going to be with you for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, then they're going to be engaging with you on a regular basis. And if that experience is not consistent, then it's going to be an issue with them.
Of course, because indeed they engage with us through different channels. So they need to have delivered the same experience across all of them.
Yeah.
So all of our touchpoints should kind of breath our brand. That's our aim.
Fantastic. Okay, we're going to finish up, Hugo. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
As a last kind of statement from your end, what are you looking most forward to, or are you most excited about over the next 12 to 18 months in terms of projects that you're working on?
For us to really achieve the blend and the personalization across different channels that we want to deliver.
Hugo, thank you very much.
Thank you.